Hi there, Vasilica. So let's take a look at your essay on international marketing. Global marketing is thought to be a negative trend which spreads at a high speed and in a disturbing way in some countries. However, others see this as a crucial form of education besides other benefits it has. Okay, this is grammatically incorrect here. In my opinion, being exposed, to international markets can affect a country's economy, but having limitations and respect for one's country ought to be balanced. Okay, that's fine, except for two little things. It's not international markets, which might lead you to think that we're talking about international trade, but international marketing, which is something considerably different. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is your punctuation. You need to leave a space between your full stop and the next word, and the same thing is true for your commas. So, I mean, maybe when you handwrite, this isn't so obvious, but here it just makes it difficult to read. So those two things. Other than that, it's fine. I like the fact that you gave your opinion. That's important to make sure that your viewpoint is clear. So let's go on and see what you wrote for the body of this. Okay. On the one hand, global markets can have a detrimental effect on local culture and traditions. Many people are attracted by international goods and most of the time will ignore the local ones. Therefore, they're slowly losing, word order, their identities by adopting new, I think you mean customs, but it's spelled wrong. It's U-O. And international traditions, by adopting new customs and international traditions that are offered by those specific markets. Okay, again, I'm not clear what you mean by markets here. So, I'm not really sure what we're talking about when you say specific markets, but let's see what you said for your example. So, for instance, a study carried out by Oxford University from the UK shows that 40% of Western states are driven by foreign products to embrace other cultures and lifestyles instead of being keen on their own nationality. Okay, let's take a look at that. I'm just going to read it again really fast. Okay, give me a second. Okay, it's fine. Like I said, this expression was a little unclear. Okay, and then there's two other things. I would have liked to see a conclusive statement kind of wrapping up this paragraph and linking it back to the first sentence. All right, this makes it a much more fully developed paragraph. And there was one other thing that I wanted to mention. I liked some of your vocabulary, so I like this are driven by foreign products, and I like embrace other cultures. So that's some example of some nice vocabulary here. The rest of it is fine. All right, so let's move on. On the other hand, international marketing is a useful tool in educating other countries about foreign products and services. In other words, citizens of a country can broaden their IER horizons with an S and develop skills in terms of manufacturing different items that are not produced in their national country. Moreover, it can help them in making those products and sell them in local markets. Okay, now this is an example of a paragraph that is not supported. So you've got 3 sentences in this paragraph, one of them which basically presents your idea, and then the rest of the paragraph just reads like a list. So it's not considered a fully developed paragraph. It really just sounds like a list. So whenever you have an idea, you have to say to yourself, have I supported my idea? All right, have I provided illustration? Have I provided an example? Have I explained what I mean? Okay? Otherwise, it's just considered unsupported. Alright, so you kind of did that here, but you still should have extended. There was more you could have said, and here too, as well. So explain to me how it can help them. Why is this important? Those are some of the questions you have to ask yourself after these sentences. How and why? Okay, or what do I mean by this? So after you present your ideas, these are the kinds of questions you have to ask yourself in order to make sure that you are in fact supporting your ideas. And you should never assume that these things are obvious. Nothing is obvious in an essay. So really spell it out for your reader. All right, let's look at the next paragraph. Finally, I think global marketing is certainly bringing some advantages for a number of countries, but is a drawback for the country's economic development. This will produce economic instability. People ignore, get rid of the will after if, ignore national products. However, having a balance between national and international services can have numerous advantages, such as economic growth and development. Again, it's okay. Let me get to the conclusion first, and then I'll go back to this, okay? In conclusion, while people have different views, I believe that people ought not to ignore their traditions, and they have to promote their country in order to avoid globalization and economic failure. Okay, fine. So, first of all, Vasilica, what we do is we typically recommend a 4-paragraph structure. So, in this framework, you would have this paragraph the way you had it, and then you would support your viewpoint in the second paragraph, in that second body paragraph. So this is kind of interesting because you took a balanced approach. So I understand your temptation to do something like this. In other words, your personal belief is half of this and half of that. So I understand your logic, but what ends up happening is you have these really tiny little underdeveloped paragraphs like this. So, it's not the best way to develop this, okay? So, like I said before, you really needed to extend this, and, I think you could have gotten rid of this. You could have perhaps, maybe said a little more in your conclusion, and you could have developed this a little more. What you're going to find is your task achievement score is going to be affected by this because of the underdevelopment of these ideas. Okay, now the good news is that most of your vocabulary is fine, it's appropriate. There are a couple of examples of higher level collocations and vocabulary. I would like to see more as well, actually. You have tried to use some complex sentences. That has been with varying results. There was that one conditional that you tried, but it was incorrect. Okay, so examiners are going to look at that. They're going to ask themselves, well, did the student try to do any advanced grammar, and was that or was that not successful? Let's see. Your coherence and cohesion was fine. You used a variety of linking devices. I want to warn you not to use too many. There are a lot of them in the beginning of your sentences. So look, you've got things like therefore, for instance, moreover, finally. However, in conclusion, make sure you don't use too many of these because they really just act as speed bumps when we read. There are other ways to provide coherence and cohesion in a way that's more seamless. So think about that as well. All right. Okay, so here's the thing now. It's a well-written essay, but there is some work to be done. So I'd like to see more of your work. I'd like to see what you're doing with task 1 for sure. And I'd like to see what you write on other task 2s. So let's see if there's some way to get you to work with us, whether through essay corrections or in the online course. I think you'll find a lot of useful information in both of those options, so do look into them. And I hope I get to see more of your writing in the future so that we can help you prepare and improve for IELTS. Good luck.